and welcome. Welcome. Hope you have a beverage of your choice. Tea, coffee, or anything like that. Anything you like. Okay, so for those of you who are listening to this on Spotify, you are missing out on something. Because for the first time ever, I've decided to also record visuals. And, obviously that's going to be accessible only on YouTube. For obvious reasons, but I encourage you to stay and listen to the audio. Okay, this is my inner saboteur or inner critic telling you that you're actually not missing out on much. But anyway, welcome. I am happy to have you here. And I am grateful for your presence, and I hope you do find something for yourself, something you can relate to, or just a general insight on different things. Either way, once again, I'm always terrible at this. When I'm recording this by myself, I always have this kind of, I don't know, this feeling that I don't know what to say. I pause a lot, which you already know by now if you've been listening to the previous 5 episodes of Tales from a Desolate Planet. Either way, I'm happy to have you here. And this is the 6th, and I think this is kind of a groundbreaking for me episode, because the first season of Tales from a Desolate Planet is drawing to an end. This is groundbreaking for me because I wanted to take you on a trip through my lonelinesses, through what I've been experiencing as a person who is suffering from, or actually living with, addiction and depression and whatnot. I still am waiting to complete my therapy regarding addiction, regarding being addicted to alcohol. And later on I will be pursuing other therapies and trying to get more information about myself, possibly other diagnoses, like maybe ADHD or autism even. I don't know, I just stumble upon lots and lots of information that I relate to, that this is also my experience, but fuck knows whether that's the depression or that's the addiction talking. You already know that I have been addicted since I was 12, and over the years I had absolutely no fucking chance of growing emotionally and for proper development, and no opportunities for my actual character traits to surface. So that's kind of shitty. And I'm 37 years old now, and I am still learning who I really am. There's a lot of things that I have worked through, lots of things regarding addiction, regarding trauma, and I think that I've come to the conclusion with my therapist that there's not much more I can do regarding addiction. So I will be staying another, 1 or 2 months just to stabilize in a new working environment, because I had to change jobs, I don't really think that's relevant. Why? Don't want to get into it. Or maybe I do. I don't know. Just my contract. My contract was time related, and the time for my contract has ended. I hoped to have an extension on that contract, but I didn't get it. So, yeah, simple as that. And I have been looking for a job for 1.5 months, and I finally found it. I will be starting next week, so that's that. End of story. 35 seconds. So now, I started talking about completing the first season of Tales from a Distant Planet because my journey with with therapy regarding addiction is drawing to an end, and there's not much more I can do here. And more of my character traits are starting to surface, and probably that's a good time to start to think about other things. I know I have to work really hard. Okay, again, I don't have to, but I want to work on my traumas, on my childhood experiences, because I do feel that they strongly impact me today even, and they will be impacting me for a long time to come. But I want to work on those traumas, work on my past experiences, and get the gist of who I actually am and why I am the way I am. Okay, I do have a strong connection to myself, like I've never had before, and the journey was long and painful. It was more than 2 years since I started therapy, and it's been a hell of a ride, but I managed to pull through. I managed to deal with many relapses. I managed to deal with many things, many unhealthy ways of coping after leaving alcohol and the substance that was used by me to self-regulate. And now I am moving forward. So, since I'm moving forward, and since a lot of healing has actually happened, and I don't feel that continuing this series regarding my past lonelinesses has actually any relevance anymore, I will give you today a story of my addiction since day one. Maybe you will find something, as I've said before, something inspiring, or I don't know, anything that you will relate to. Yeah, so basically, you already know, I've been addicted since I was 12. Ever since I was little, I didn't have a sense of belonging, possibly, and I felt kinda, I mean, I did have friends at school, etc., but I don't know, it's not that I had problems fitting in, per se. I'm sorry about my face, but, you know, the sun. It's painful. But I always felt that I kinda don't really belong. I don't really have a place of my own to to be in, to relate to, etc. I felt always like a loner, despite having friends, as I said. I was never someone on the outside of the group. I spent 9 years with the same people, going through primary school, and it was a good experience, actually. But at the same time, there was always this feeling at the back of my head that I was lonely, that I didn't fit in. I was somewhere on the outside. I had problems getting a girlfriend and things like that. So for a teenager, that was always a major problem. And the first time that I used alcohol to self-regulate, to make me feel something or somehow, was when I was 12. That's why I am saying that I have been addicted since I was 12, because that was the first time I used substances to self-regulate, to avoiding any social context, because the thing is that I sat in my dad's chair, because, well, obviously my dad was the only male figure I could look up to at that point, and I took one of his cigarettes and I poured myself a glass of his alcohol, and I started strong. I started with 40% alcohol, and I sat there and drank and watched South Park, and I felt I'm so fucking grown up. I finally feel myself. I finally feel something. I finally feel important. Because, well, obviously I have had this information coded in my brain that my dad is the person calling the shots, which was not true. But that was the thing that I have had coded in my head. Then I come to think of it, voluntarily or not, I kind of did look up to my dad, which I am currently even ashamed of saying and admitting to, because I still have problems with my dad. I don't talk to him. I haven't spoken to my parents since November, maybe? Yeah, I think it was November, so 8 months and running. Yeah, 8 months. Sorry, spaced out a bit. And I know I need to choose a male therapist to work on the father figure in my head, which kinda, when I talked to my current therapist, who is a woman, and she suggested that maybe a male therapist would be a good thing for me, I was like, ugh, really? And that's when I realized, okay, since I'm not feeling that comfortable, I guess that's what would be actually helpful. That's one of the things. I know you should feel comfortable with your therapist and you have a right to choose as you please, but I do feel that since I need to work on the father figure, and the relationship with a therapist is very crucial, that maybe that is something that I actually need right now. So what I really need goes above what I would prefer, because always I would prefer the company of a woman. I've always had a great rapport with women, than with men. I always felt more connected to women than to men, and it's not related to any kind of attraction. I just got along more with women than with men. And a digression after a digression after digression, and I digress, etc. You know the drill. 12 years old, and I started drinking alone. Also, I did drink with friends, but that was just, a couple of beers. But the strong stuff I kept to myself, and I drank. I drank 80% alcohol. I mean, I drank straight up spirits with Coke mixed, and that was my drill as a 13-year-old. So you get the picture, and I did it all by myself, wholesome. So without anyone knowing what I was doing. I didn't even tell my friends I was doing that, I think. But, I was 13 and I was self-medicating, actually. I was self-medicating with alcohol. And that's it. Okay, another digression. Sorry, this is my kitchen, by the way. Place where I live. I'm recording this from my kitchen. So welcome to my kitchen also. And so moving on. And that's when it all started, actually. I drank more and more, and in social contexts, I drank more and more. I always had to, be the. I was the guy that someone. Okay, maybe not. For those of you who are watching this on YouTube, this is my son. Of course, my son is my cat, but I treat my cats as my kids. And I love them as if they were, because they are my kids. Okay, if you're not feeling that vibe, fuck off. You don't have to agree with me. This is my experience, and this is how I feel. Okay, so when I got around to drinking with my friends, I was the guy that had to drink the most, the fastest. I had to be the one that needed to get as much attention as possible, and the way to go was to drink as much as possible, as quickly as possible, and that's what I did all the time. At some point, I didn't answer my phone when my parents were calling, because I didn't want to go home while I was sitting at my friends watching 90s comedies and and drinking beer. I had to drink as much as possible, but I didn't want to go home because I didn't want my parents to find out that I was drunk. So I stayed all night at my friend's place, but I told my parents I didn't tell my parents where I was going. I told them I was going somewhere else instead of where I was actually at. Don't really know why. Maybe because I suspected that they might come looking for me or anything or something like that. But they did go looking for me. They spent the whole night worrying where I was because I wasn't answering my phone. And when I got home early in the morning, just came home, drank tea, and then my dad said that they reported me to the police, that I vanished, and that we need to go to the police station and clarify the mix-up. And the detective was drilling me, asking the same question over and over again. Why did you run away? I said I didn't run away. I was just with my fucking motorbikes. I said that I didn't run away. I was at my friend's place and I just knew my parents wouldn't allow it, and I just wanted to be with my friends. And that was true. Okay, partially at least, but that was true. I did want to spend time with. I just wanted to spend time with my friends. Of course, drinking. But I don't think that was yet the time when friends became an excuse for drinking. I just wanted to spend time with my friends. I was a teenager in my early teens, and I wanted to spend the night at my friend's place. But the detective kept on drilling me, asking the same question. Why did you run away? I didn't run away. Why did you run away? I didn't run away. Are you listening to me? I didn't run away. I wanted to spend time with my friends, and I knew my parents wouldn't allow it. Why did you run away? At some point I just gave up and lied, straight up lied, because I wanted to see if my parents loved me. And only then did he accept my my statement that I actually did run away. I have absolutely no fucking idea why he drilled me so much. Did he suspect something, that I don't believe that my parents love me? Because now when I think of it, I didn't. It's fucking Monday morning. It's 7:30 in the morning, and there's like fucking motorbikes driving around. Fucking motorbikes. I don't like motorbikes. I never want to ride a motorbike. I never did. Okay, at some point I did want to ride a motorbike, but now I don't. I strongly detest motorbikes because they're so loud, and I have come to believe that they're dangerous somehow. I don't know if they actually are, but you know, that's how I think about them. But the thing that bugs me the most is how loud they are. So I actually said, yeah, that I wanted to see if my parents loved me, and I think that was the truth right now. Well, obviously the thing that I said first off was true, that I wanted to spend some quality time with my friends, and I knew my parents wouldn't allow it. But yeah, but actually I think I really didn't believe that my parents loved me. I don't know. This is one of the things that I need to work out. And it's not because I have this strong feeling, this urge to pursue knowledge about myself. I just have this feeling that some things in my past just don't make sense, and I want to make sense of them. And this is one of the things that I need to work out with a therapist, because I don't know. I suspect that may be the truth, but I don't know. I mean, my parents were abusive towards me. My dad would punish me physically and emotionally, hitting me. That was the physical part. And emotionally, when he would say, I was just a fucking kid, and I would hear things like, sorry, an ambulance, and I would hear things like he resented me, he's ashamed to be my dad, and that he would give me to child care and renounce me as his son. and he would, just go about his life without me, and he would never look back. So these things, I come to think of it, I always had this attitude that no matter how many good things I heard about myself, the bad things were the one to stick. So obviously, when my dad, feeling very angry with me, being very angry with me, feeling so much anger towards me, that he would say things like that he, I know, didn't mean, but those are the things that stuck. And they messed with my head. And later on in life, there was the same thing. Over and over again. No matter how many good things I've heard about myself, it were the bad things that actually stuck with me. So, moving on. I'm 14 years old. I'm continuing my career as a young aspiring drunk, so to speak. I already, after some beers, I go to my friend and we decide to drink straight up vodka, but we knew that no one would sell us vodka, so we go to another to another friend. It was a colleague of my colleague, so I didn't actually know the guy, but he was 18 at the time, and he got us vodka, and he was pouring it, and I said, I drank it and said, "You didn't pour me a shot," and he poured me again. I drank it quickly, and then I said, "You didn't pour me a shot," and he poured me another shot, and I drank it, and that's when I passed out. I woke up the next day in my living in my own room, on my pillow, which I vomited on, and it took me about an hour or so to realize that something is out of place, that I was at my friend's place and now I'm home. Something didn't quite add up. So you know what state I was in. I got up, drank something, vomited, drank some more, vomited some more, and I finally got to talking to my dad, and I actually don't remember that conversation. I don't know why, but I do remember that the next evening I went to some kind of religious camp, where, funny enough, I found God and all that jazz. But when after 10 days of being at this real kind of, religious retreat, religious camp, was people from, it was the Catholic Church, and there were different people from different communities, raised by their parishes. Those people knew each other. I was the only one that didn't know anyone, so I kind of started making new friends, but I thought I met God there. Maybe I did, I don't know, I'm not quite sure. I'm very skeptical of an idea of God, and even if he does exist, I do strongly believe that he's a dick, straight up. I'm living according to my own conscience and my own morals, which can be basically summarized to don't be a dick. What more do you need? You see someone you don't like, You have the right to not like them, but you don't have a right to be a dick towards them. So just don't be a dick if you see someone you don't like. You're anyone saying that they're homophobic, they're not homophobic. They're just being dicks, because what they are feeling does not meet any criteria regarding any kind of phobia. They are just dicks. Because if you want to meet the criteria for phobia, you need to be really, really scared of something, and they're not scared. They just don't like them very much. So they're being bigots and dicks. And I'm not taking that back. Forget it. So I go to this religious retreat. I think I meet God. And I go back, totally changed and stuff. And I start to go to church really intensively. And the more I go, the more I sink in to spend the next 6 years in a cult, in something that started off quite innocent, but ended up being a straight up cult with the leader. This was all part of the Catholic Church, but at some point the bishops declared that we are not to meet, that we should disband and go about our ways. But we didn't listen to the bishops, and we continued. And the priest that was the leader of the cult, he was an actual leader of the cult, because no matter what he did, he always turned out to be a living saint. Even when he did something wrong and he apologized, he did that in a way that, made him look even more of a saint than ever. So every apology ended with him gaining more and more control of us. He had his high council of most developed members of the cult. At some point I was really close to Okay, we're really back. Sorry about that. So we got cut off at some point. Audio and visual, getting the audio and visual together will be a fucking nightmare. But okay, fuck that. I'm gonna worry about that later. So I was really close to the High Council at some point. And I was so manipulated that I actually wanted to become a priest myself. I was really close to going to study to be a priest, but at the last moment after my high school finals, I was already kinda kinda on the outside, because okay, and that's the thing. They kept drilling me, and I had no fucking idea what kind of answer they expected from me, because I felt they expected me to answer in a specific way, to say something very specific, but I didn't know what they wanted to hear. They kept asking me, why do you want to become a priest? And I said, because I want to serve God and people. Okay, but what does that mean? What do you mean, what does that mean? I want to become a priest. I want to take confessions. I want to help the people. I want to spread religion. I want to spread love and spread the name of God and things like that. What do you mean, what does that mean? That's what it means to me. And I kept saying that over and over again, and they kept drilling me. Yeah, but what does that mean to you? And that's what it meant to me. And I had absolutely no fucking clue what they were talking about. At some point that priest lost his patience and said, well, if you don't know what we mean, then maybe you shouldn't be here at all. So I just got up and left. And I didn't contact anyone for, I don't know, 2 weeks. I was already 18, and that's the legal age for drinking here in Poland. So I bought wine, I bought gin, I drank a little, I played some video games. I was absolutely heartbroken that the people I thought I loved the most in the world, who I have devoted my life to, at least I thought I did. Well, okay, that was my truth at the time. I really felt that I wanted to devote myself to those people, to the church and all that jazz. And I was absolutely heartbroken. I didn't know what to do. So, of course, one thing, I turned to alcohol, and then and I broke my 6-year-long abstinence. And because I found that religion was my new drug. And that community was my new drug. I did everything for them. I was available for them 24/7 if they needed to. They never actually did, but I was committed to be available for them and to be a part of that family. Yeah, family. I thought that was my new real family, a family that actually understood me. Because my parents didn't at that point, and I don't think they actually ever did understand me. I mean, okay, no one will actually understand me 100%, just like no one person will ever 100% understand another person in the world, ever, because they're not the same. But having that out of the way, I never felt like I was being understood by my parents, I think. I mean, it was never a conscious thought in my mind regarding that, but yeah, that's what now I think of myself in the past, that I never had this feeling that my parents understood me, ever. But I digress. Okay, so 6 years being in a cult and not drinking, but using religion as a new kind of substance to regulate my emotions, to self-regulate in total, and I felt kicked out. I spent 2 weeks practically alone, not talking to anyone from the cult, and you know, that's the fucking thing. Those fuckers were meeting 3 times a week at least, and I was always there, always. And those fuckers had to see that I'm missing, so to speak, and not one single fucking person ever reach out to me. Ever. Even my closest friends, no one reached out to ask where I was, what I was doing, why am I not there. I have no fucking clue what the motherfucking priest told those people. But I was, first of all, completely devastated with what had happened. And no one actually asked a fucking question. I didn't get a text, a phone call, nothing. 2 weeks. Anything could have happened in 2 weeks. But no one actually asked the fucking question. And I didn't think that was fair or normal or anything. But yeah, fuck it. I met with my closest friend after 2 weeks' time. And I reached out to him. And I heard that he's hurt because I didn't reach out to him when he was sick. Boo-hoo. How the fuck should I have known whether he is sick or not if no one actually bothered to reach out to me in 2 weeks, including him? Nothing. And he felt hurt. I mean, okay, he had the right to feel hurt, but at the same time, I don't think he did have the right to feel hurt. Because how the fuck was I supposed to know? You see, this is another major thing from my life that I want to work on and go back to and address, because I never actually did during the last years of my therapy. So obviously you see that this is whenever I get back to this period from my life, I still have this feeling that that I need to work on this. So I leave. I did attend later on, thinking that I need a year to figure things out. So, and I was the last year in Poland that had to start any kind of studies to avoid being drafted. And I had the highest category. I was according to the medical services, I was, top notch to be a good soldier. But I didn't want to get drafted, so I applied to attend theology studies, and I went there for a year. And during that year, I kinda did still attend, but kinda didn't. And at some point I just stopped. I just stopped going there. I said, fuck it. Screw them. I stopped going and I said, fuck you guys. Okay, in my head, I thought I was coping quite well, but at the same time I was heartbroken because, okay, imagine the period between when you're 14 and 20, where all of your values or all of your morals are being shaped, and suddenly everything you based your morals on turns out to be a pile of shit. So your morals are completely broken, because everything you've worked on for the last 6 years, one of the most important years to develop, actually turns out to be a complete waste of time. And I was heartbroken. I was actually just top to bottom broken. So I mean, I thought I found my new morals via a fantasy group, and I still had a need for spirituality, not for religion, but spirituality. So I, I acquired a code of morals that would suit me best, relating to a kind of deity from a fantasy setting. It may sound ridiculous, but I think that helped me cope with what was going on at the moment. So I continued. I went on through life. I had a partner at that point, and we were 7 years together. And I went to university. I changed universities. I transferred to linguistic studies because I was good in English. So what other course to pursue than English philology at the Institute of English Studies. But after 1.5 years, I dropped out. But I lied to my family, and I still took money from them to pay my studies. But I used that money to... I was a fraud, basically. I took that money and I lived off it instead of attending my studies because I dropped out. And, actually, I could have saved myself and not get kicked out, but I chose the easy path, and I quit myself before I got kicked out due to not paying, due to attendance and things like that. So I had a job as an English tutor, and I taught English for the next 10 years. That started in 2007. 2007 was 2006, and 2007 was the first year of English studies. 2007 January I started teaching English. Mid 2008 I got kicked out, but continued teaching, and for the next couple of years I went deeper and deeper down the addictive rabbit hole. Started drinking because I was bored. I was at home, not with my parents. No, I moved out of my parents' place when I was 19. And I never went back. Well, I did come back for 2 months, I think, and then I just couldn't deal with being there because of some issues, and I actually left and went to live with my grandma, who was with whom I spent her last years. And that was really painful. It still is, because I really, really loved my grandma, and she loved me the most in the whole wide world. And she did help me however she could. She took me in, but she was already living alone for 10 years because my grandpa died 10 years before. He was an alcoholic, and he died of leukemia. It's every single of his organs was infected with cancer, and he just died at some point. I really missed them. I really do miss them. because I know that despite the fact that my grandpa was not the best, he was not a good person towards my grandma and basically towards anyone, but I know he was sick. I now realize that he was just sick. And I miss him so much. I miss my grandma so much. I wish we had more time. I wish I spent more time, even living there. I wish I spent more time with her and cared more for her. I saw her deteriorate with each passing week, month, from a person who in her last years, when I started to live there, she went out to do her own groceries and things like that. She cooked all by herself, to a person that stopped recognizing me. She lost all contact with reality. She saw things that weren't there. She was so thin and light. I mean, I fed her. I had to feed her. I had to feed her every single day. During the last year of her life, I fed her every single day. And my next partner moved in with me and also attended to my grandma, and she was absolutely amazing and thought of many ways to help my grandma, to comfort her any way she could. She attended to her too. She fed her. I washed my grandma. I had to take her to the bathroom, sit her in the tub, and wash her hair, wash her whole body, and attended to her the best I could. Comb her hair, what was left of it at least, and I know I did the best I could, but it doesn't feel like it. Okay, but I digress. I moved in with my grandma at some point. She was still a strong, capable woman. She had to be. She was living alone for 10 years. But before that, I started to drink really badly. Between when I was 21 and 25, I was drinking more and more, and at some point there wasn't a day in a whole year when I would be sober. At some point I tried to stop drinking, and I managed to go on without alcohol for days. But by the second day I had withdrawal syndrome, irritability to light, to sounds, to anything, tremors, sweats, and by the fourth day I went back to drinking. I was drinking every single day for a year, or even more, I don't even know. By this time I know I drank. That was the period of my life when I drank every single day, but I don't know how long it lasted that I was drinking every single day. I reverted to drinking as cheaply as possible, so that meant the cheapest and strongest beer I could get a hold on, and stronger alcohols, of course. my partner's dad, who was producing alcohol by himself in their basement. So I went down their basement and drank his alcohol, to get up, to feel something. My partner at the time attended her studies, and I was all alone at home, having only some lessons in the morning. Then I got back and had nothing else to do, so I drank. I was so bored. I did start to write stories at the time. I started as a distraction because of boredom, and I at some point got really good at it, and I never ever published anything, and those stories are all gone, and everything that remains from that period are my notes in an old calendar, which luckily survived that period, and I have it here, but I haven't gotten to going through it and checking the ideas for stories that I could revisit and redo and start writing again. So I'm having really big problems concentrating on reading at this point, and I don't believe I can do a good job writing if I don't read. But yeah, at any rate, I did start writing last year, and I got around 4 pages, which is a major success for me. So yeah. It was really hard to be so bored that you go to alcohol and you just drink. And later on, we had more and more arguments. We argued a lot, and at some point, okay, my partner at the time had her own issues. Well, obviously her dad was an alcoholic too, but no one ever actually did anything about it, because they were, religious and Catholic Church, and just you marry the person you married, and you just have to put up with it. It's horrible. So many people live really unhappy lives because they believe that they just can't leave a relationship or leave the partner who is abusive or anything. Okay, never mind. I don't want to go into what I think about religion, and especially about the Catholic Church or the majority of Christian communities. Never mind. Okay, fuck it. And I moved. I left. I moved to my parents' place at some point, and broke up with my partner. I moved back to my parents, but I stayed there 2 months and I just couldn't. I really just couldn't put up with them. I'm not going to go into details because more of my family is involved, and I have a beef with my parents and not everybody else. But everybody else, just doesn't wish to contact me either way. I guess that's okay. They have a right to do so. Never mind. Okay. I moved from my parents to my grandma, and that That's where I stayed for the next 11 years, I think. I don't know. Time is a very troublesome thing for me. I don't really have a sense of time that would be kinda, I don't know. I lost all sense of time. I would have to, draw a timeline, and I never actually got to do it because I didn't feel the need. I know what major events happened when they happened. I mean, one after another. But the fact that I can't put them, I can't assign any specific dates to them is not actually a problem for me. Then I changed partners, and the next person I was with actually became my wife at some point, and she was absolutely amazing towards my grandma. As I said, she was absolutely amazing. I was drinking less and less by the time, but I was addicted and I didn't want to, I had this feeling that we could work things out, and, just if I stopped drinking. We had absolutely no fucking idea how to go about addictions or therapy or things like that. And at some point I just, after 10 years, we got to a point when I, in order to get alcohol, I reverted to stealing it from the shop, or from a supermarket. And when I started talking I started going to therapy, and each person I talked to said that it would be best if I checked myself into a clinic or a hospital and spent some time there to, just not be in the world outside, because that would be counterproductive if I started full-time therapy. And I did. I went to a hospital. I spent 2 months in that hospital, and when I got out, I broke up with my partner. I broke up with my partner, and I did it in the worst possible way. And later on, we both agreed that it was a good decision, and that we just screwed up. My wife was the best friend that I ever had, and I still think of her that way. We're not in a place where we can call ourselves friends, I think. But I do hope that we can be friends later on, because we're still both, the two of us are still hurting. I know she's hurting like fucking hell, and she's in pain because of what happened. And but we are talking, we are kind to each other, we're supportive to each other, and I hope we can get to a point when we can just have more regular, normal contact. I guess that's my story. 1 hour, 4 minutes, more or less. And the last 2 years, ever since I checked myself into the hospital, were really transformative. Really fucking painful. Even more painful than going to chemo at some point. Because the second time I had cancer, I had 3 months of chemo, and I felt like complete shit after chemo, after each round. I had four rounds of chemo, 5 days in the week. So 5 days, 3 weeks break, another 5 days, another 3 weeks break, and I had 4 courses, 5 day each, of chemo, of getting treated every single day, getting IV chemo, no pills, just directly intravascular. Think that's what it's called? IV. Never mind. And I spent in the hospital from the fastest I got out of the hospital was after 7 hours of just lying in bed and taking in a bag after a bag after a bag after a bag, 8 bags of different kind of substances and 2 bags of chemo per se, every single day for 5 days, 3 weeks break, and 2 weeks break, 2 weeks break, and then again. And after 4 months, I beat cancer for the second time in my life, and I felt like complete shit after each round. There was this moment when I was lying there being fully conscious and doing all sorts of stuff. But at some point, after just 3 hours of lying there, when the drugs kicked in, I was completely worthless. I was just lying there waiting for time to pass, maybe sometimes falling asleep, sometimes not, sometimes just watching something on my phone, and that's how it went. And again, my wife was extremely supportive, and she gave it 300%, if not more, to keep me safe and to give me all the comfort I needed to get better, to get healthy, and everything like that. She helped me, she supported me, she nurtured me back to health. I will never forget that, never ever. Just like I will never forget all the good things that happened. At some point, I was stuck in this kind of bias of all the bad things that had happened in my life. But then I started to realize, and by that I mean not just, getting a more and more real, getting more and more in touch and having a more real sense of what actually was happening in my life, because there were bad things that happened in our marriage, but there was a quadrillion good things and good moments and good times which I will never forget. And but those toxic elements, those bad elements, kind of screwed us up to a point where it wasn't good for us to be together. Obviously, I am not going to talk about any details because this involves her, and that's between us and whoever she thinks could hear that. Of course, I am talking about everything with my therapist. I mean, I have absolutely no secrets from my therapist, so don't get me wrong. But yeah, that's how it went. That's my life. I know I kind of skipped the last 17 years of my life, or 15 years of my life, with first and second partner, but yeah, I'm not going to get into the details because the level of toxicity within both relationships was through the roof, and I wasn't the only cause, but me and my sickness and me not willing to take accountability for what I did, drove us both insane. So I get the impression that I was kind of a catalyst for the bad things that happened, and it spiraled out of control. But for the past 2.5 years, I've been abstinent. I don't really know. I don't have a date. I don't count the days of abstinence. 2.5 years, I think. I've been abstinent. I am completing my therapy regarding addiction soon. And that's kind of my story. At least part of it. Because there are still so many things that I want to find out about myself, and so many things that I want to learn about myself, and so many things that I want to share with the world. So who will tell my story if not me? And I do feel that I have something to say. And I do feel that my voice matters. Because I know each person has a history to say. And that's the history of their lives. So the history of my life is here before you. You can do with it whatever you want. There's nothing you can take away that I'm not willing to share. And I've shared this much. Do with it as you please. But no matter what you're dealing with, no matter what you're struggling with, no matter how bad the circumstances are, there is always hope for a better life. There is always hope for a better future. For you to get well. Cling to that hope. Because there are times when that hope is the last thing keeping you alive. And that's what happened to me. And I want to finish here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to this. I am eternally grateful. Cheers. And don't forget to finish your coffee or tea or any kind of beverage that you had. Bye-bye.